Today we are going to test our soil. We figured out last year during our example year that our soil for where we wanted to grow corn after many years of failure, we did not have enough potassium. So this year I've learned to go ahead and just go to my local hardware store and I buy whatever they have there. This worked out really well last year just to get a simple set here. And you'll just get a small soil sample, which we're going to do today, and we're going to let it soak overnight. We have a heavy clay soil in our area, so it has to set for a good while. Out here, you can actually see we have a couple of other experiments we've been trying this year. Over here, we have some onions. These are walking onions. My mom gave these to me a couple of years ago. We're just trying those out. Here you can see we're trying a version of what. Here you can see we still have an experiment going on from last year. Last year we tried growing kohlrabi. I'd never grown it before, and it did not produce anything before winter hit. It did not die. So up in the northern part of Indiana where we're at, we did not have apparently enough cold to kill this last year. So I went ahead and as you can see, it's gone to seed. So it's going to flower and then produce some seeds. We're going to try something along trying to preserve our own seeds this year. We'll talk about that more as that experiment wraps up as well. But more importantly here, we are going to try and collect some soil. As you can see, Rosie's going to help us as usual. She's a very helpful beagle. So you just want a nice just collection of dirt. The instructions will tell you how much dirt that you need. You can see here it is extremely, extremely wet. So I try to, almost a worm, try to remove the worms from this so that they don't run into any issues. I'll scoop a nice chunk of dirt into my water, or into my bowl that will be mixed with water. You see we're very high class here. We're just using our Cool Whip bowl. We use what we've got, right? We'll soak this for a few hours, so overnight probably is best. And then tomorrow we will use that testing kit to identify what needs we have. Last year, the potassium, I ended up using bone meal, and that worked out really well. I have more of that in the house if we need it. I guess more in the garage. So we'll use that next year or for this season and see how things go. But as you can see, we have some little sprouts of things coming up in the garden. We have a lot of sunflower seeds that have been coming up year over year. You can see we've tried a couple different ways of composting stuff. We recently invested in a composter that composts automatically for us, so we don't have this out in the garden. You could see that Rose really enjoys coming out here in the garden with me, and she enjoyed a lot of snacks out of here that she didn't necessarily need. So we are trying something different with this. So far it seems to be working. We have quite a bit of compost as well. So lots of experiments for us to follow up on for this year to see how we can preserve that year of food. So we collected 2 days ago soil sample, beautiful muddy water. As you can see, this is primarily clay like I talked about. So now we're going to take out my testing kit and reread some information because I don't remember everything from last year. And start working through our different samples. And I'm missing my little suction tube. That's okay. We know how to adjust. So I'm starting with the nitrogen. I'm going to pop this open and get just a little bit of water. My feeling it's going to be a little more than I want. Let's get some towels. Alright, I'm about to make a mess, might as well prepare for it. So a little bit of water here. got a little too much. I'm just filling right to that fill line. And then I'm going to match the corresponding purple to it. Take that part ever so gently and dump the contents in. Put that lid on. And we're going to shake it up. Now, it needs to develop for 10 minutes. Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. I was doing all the things wrong. We're going to try this again. It says try not to disturb the sediment on the bottom. We're going to see how we can do. Almost did it. All right. Now we're going to find orange. And the orange is the potash or the potassium, which is what I believe last year. No, we did not need this. We ended up needing the phosphate, I believe, is what ended up being wrong last year. So we'll see what this year's garden's doing. Give it a good shake. All right. Set that one to let that start to develop. This next one here, this is our phosphorus, aka the P-test. I really overfilled that one. There we go. All right. Set that there, grab our blue one out. See where that's at. Uh-oh. Get that activator in there. Let's see what we come up with. All right. Let those sit for a little while and see what that does. Do the same thing over here. We're going to see what our pH level is. Looks like we're starting to get some color changes going on the other ones, so that's good. There's that. I'll give it a good shake. All right, we're gonna let that set. So already you can kind of see some of these colors are coming through. So this is giving me that it's a really depleted phosphorus right now. Honestly, it's kind of like nothing is terribly happy right now in the garden. Also looking like we're in the depleted for nitrogen. But our potash, as you can see here, It was looking pretty good. That's orange. That's a pretty good orange. So that doesn't need any potash. Um, like I said, this is showing as it's depleted. It's been sitting there for a good while. This one might take a little bit longer, but it's also looking like our nitrogen or our phosphorus is depleted. So nitrogen and phosphorus both are really low. We're going to want to take a look at that. This is giving me this nice shady green here of slightly acidic, almost to that neutral color. So we might see that that develops into a neutral the longer it sits, and it does look like it's changing to that neutral, so that's good. So as I'm looking at our information here, it's telling me that I will want to look into adding either dried blood for nitrogen or nitrate of sodium. So I'm just looking here in my information. And then for the phosphate is bone meal, which is what I had to add last year. I'm not surprised by that. So I will need to get both bone meal and dried blood added into my garden this year. So today we are testing out where we had collected another soil sample. I didn't add anything for nitrogen yet, but I'm curious to make sure I'm still getting the same readings. Plus, there might be a small trace amount in what we had done before. So we're going to do the same thing we did before. Just dump some water. Oh, we forgot the towel. Since I know I'll make a mess, better off to just not make the mess to begin with. Put down a little preventative. So just take a little bit of water. I still can't find my eyedropper that goes for this thing. Ooh, there we go. I overfilled it. There we go. Fill that line. There you go. And then we've got our little blue tabs and our little purple tabs that we'll add to our corresponding one and see where we're at. I've added an entire bag of bone meal to the garden, so we'll see if that helped or not. And if it didn't, we'll get more. We'll just keep experimenting until we reach the desired levels. So bone meal is supposed to raise my phosphorus levels, and then I have not got the blood meal yet. That is supposed to raise my nitrogen levels. Makes me wonder some things for incoming years if I could maybe make my own bone meal, things like that. But those are things to think about for another time frame. All right. We've added those in. Put my little doodaddies on here. Put my lids on. Start shaking. Do some nitrogen. All right. Now we're gonna let them sit. See what happens. We're trying some other things this year, and I'm going to be doing that in just a little bit. Is experimenting with planting carrots in a rootstock bed. And the first year I did potatoes in the rootstock bed, it did really well. Last year it did not, and I think I got too much stuff in and put it a little too deep, and I got hot and essentially cooked my potatoes instead. So we're gonna see what happens this year. Hopefully, a little better result than what I had before. We are starting to see some different color of blue coming out of our phosphorus test. That's nice to see. I liked it to be in the at least sufficient area. Don't know if I'll get there this year or not. We'll be calling the neighbor to get some manure. It's usually my anniversary gift. That's what I ask for every few years. get myself something really useful. I enjoy the garden, so it's nice to have that option to use. So I'm just gonna sit here and wait, see what it changes to. So we do have some results. We are, I believe, in the adequate level. It's what it's looking like, at least better than we were last time we were depleted. So I'm probably going to need another bag of bone meal. I think I only used like a 3-pound bag, and that's what I had just in the barn that I found on clearance last year. So it's looking like we're moving in the right direction. However, nitrogen, it says I need something, please. So we are going to be getting some bone meal and blood meal both. Um, I think I'm going to need more than just a 3-pound bag of that, but we will see. We'll give it a shot, find out what we can. We'll do more testing after we add in um, those items. It'll be a little bit before I'm able to get into the garden at all. Um, I don't know about where you're at, but well, it's so wet that even the worms are dead on top. So not all of them are able to get out where it's dry enough. But we're going to try our next experiment where it does actually do pretty decent with drainage. So look forward to that next.